Wife and I can get my wife, and then we'll have an argument the rest of the day.
Didn't work that way.
Oh.
Well, we got Eric, Marilyn, and Ashley.
Can't be a county employee.
Well, Marilyn.
Marilyn.
Marilyn, do you want to be one?
Sure.
Okay, there's
She's-
one.
There you go.
You're here that day, aren't you?
Far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one.
I will probably ask Mike Garrett.
Okay.
To see if he would be willing to do it, and if he doesn't, I'll probably ask Tom. Purvis,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
one of those two I'll try to ask.
Just a heads up, there was an audio issue and the first 7 minutes had no audio on the stream. Just a heads up.
Okay. So, yeah, we didn't count for 7 minutes. That's
Yeah.
good. So. I'll ask Jeremy Cloyd.
If somebody can't get one, let me know. I could probably get Mike Cochran or somebody like that to come out.
Okay, you guys will just call them after the meeting and let me or Ashley know so we can.
Okay.
The order.
Sounds good.
And Steve, I think on that order for viewing, there is a signature line. If you'll go ahead and sign that, and then we'll
Okay.
fill in the name.
Alright.
Is that our only bid, Steve, for the
Yes.
overhead door opener
Yes.
for the show barn?
Yeah. The north barn, or the north door of
Yeah.
the show barn. So,
Did you review that, Harvey?
Yeah, I did. And I don't think, if that's the only bid we have, I don't think that would.
Yeah.
We
and
need to have it
It's a
done.
local bid, and
Yeah.
I think the price is a good deal. I think we should get it installed, so I make a motion, we approve that bid and get that done.
okay.
And that bid's for $23.95.91 to put an overhead door opener, north door of the show barn at the fairgrounds.
A second?
And moved and seconded, approved the bid for the overhead door opener. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aaron, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
How are you guys today?
Good. Whenever you're ready, I think.
Okay. Can you see, I've got my screen share. Can you see these, the report that's pulled up?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to quickly just start with the, as part of the audit, we also do the agreed upon procedures for the Sherman County landfill as part of getting that permit renewed and so forth. You do have an annual, financial assurance test that you have to meet. So again, this report is just kind of summarizing the AUP, therefore. So we'll kind of go on to the next page of this. So basically the main thing from this, from the landfill agreed upon procedures, there are certain financial assurances that you've got to meet. And to meet those, they look at your Sherman County financial statement. So again, it'll look at your total cash, it'll look at your revenues, your expenditures, debts, things of that nature, and it will compute various ratios to make sure that there's looking to make sure Sherman County is in a financial position to meet those future post-closure and closure costs, okay? So we'll kind of go back to here. So these are the various numbers that came from your guys' audit report, our environmental obligations from the CFO letter. So that's what they're estimating that the total closure and post-closure costs will be when that landfill is set to close. It's many years in the future. So here are total annual revenues, total expenditures, cash, our annual debt service, no new debt issued during the year, and our non-routine capital expenditures. So basically, we'd be looking down at these ratios, the various ratios and their computation, and what KDHE wants to see those either below or greater than. So the main thing to take away from this is that all your ratios were below or greater than what KDHE requires for the financial assurance test. Okay, any questions on that?
No, this is the same report that we've had in years past, just our ratios have to, like you said, meet or exceed. You know.
Right. Yeah. So for any reason, if some like for your revenues or expenditures, you do have that landfill fund. We'll kind of take a look at that during the audit. So again, if we were to drop below some of these ratios, KDHE would probably reach out to you and say, okay, we need to recommendations, things that Sherman County would need to do to get back above or below that ratio. Okay, but you're meeting all of them, so no issues at this time on that. Okay, so on this, now we're going to jump over to the Sherman County side of the financial statement audit. So this first one, this is our recommendation letter. So if anything that we felt warranted your attention in writing that was not in the audit report would be in this letter. We always have some stuff that we communicate with Ashley and Katrina as part of the audit, just little things. But again, anything that we felt merited your attention in writing would be in this letter. So the only thing that we really have is it's just kind of a recommendation to kind of help strengthen up controls and things of that nature, that any adjusting journal entries made within CIC have supporting documentation for the entry and that it have proper sign-offs by the preparer and reviewer. So in this case, if Ashley was creating a journal entry within CIC, our recommendation would be to have Katrina over the treasurer's office review it and sign off on it, and vice versa. So again, just a small thing to kind of help strengthen up controls over financial information being inputted into CIC. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then this is the start of the financial statement for the year ended December 31st, 2024. So this is our opinion on the financial statement. So it starts off with the adverse and unmodified opinions. This hasn't changed from previous years. We first have to issue that adverse opinion that they're on U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. So all entities within the United States has to use GAAP unless they're allowed to use another basis of accounting. As a municipality of the state of Kansas, the state does allow you to waive GAAP and use the regulatory basis of accounting. That's that annual gap waiver resolution that you guys do every year. So really this adverse opinion is just to let the users of the financial statement know that it's not prepared in conformity with GAAP, that it is prepared on another basis of accounting, and that there's presumed to be material variances between GAAP and the regulatory basis of accounting that you guys elect to use. But on that regulatory basis accounting, we've issued an unmodified opinion, which is the cleanest opinion that we can issue. And it just basically states that the financial statements are fairly presented in all respects with the provisions of the Kansas Municipal Audit and Accounting Guide. Okay.
Okay,
This is the basic financial statement that we were issuing our opinion on. Again, this kind of gives you a broad overview of the financial activity for the year ended December 31st, 2024. Gives us beginning, ending unencumbered cash balance, year-to-date receipts, year-to-date expenditures, ending unencumbered cash balance, encumbrances and accounts payable. So these would be items that were charged against the 2024 budget, just haven't come out of cash yet, whether the check hasn't been written on the invoice and so forth. Okay, then our ending cash balance. One of the main caveats of the regulatory basis of accounting is the cash basis law that states all funds must end the year with a zero or positive cash balance unless it meets one of the exceptions. Some of the exceptions would be like if you had a reimbursable federal or state grant where you had to spend the money first before you could request reimbursement. As long as we were not negative by more than what we had available to reimburse, it would not be a violation of the cash basis law. So we'd be looking at this ending unencumbered cash balance. So by law, all these must end the year with either a zero or positive cash balance. So as you can see, either all our funds were either at zero or positive cash balances. So we were in compliance with the cash basis law. And then down there below is where our total cash balance of a little over 15.5 million is between your checking accounts, savings accounts, certificates, deposits, and cash on hand to come up with our total reporting entity, less our distributable and agency funds, which we'll look at those here in a little bit. Okay, these are the notes to the financial statement. I don't spend a lot of time on these. A lot of these haven't changed from previous years, so they're nothing new there. This note right here on the top of page 7, this kind of goes through some of the main differences between GAAP and regulatory basis of accounting. Deposits and investments, interfund transfers, our healthcare self-insurance claims. We did have a couple of public works statutory violations. We did have a couple of public work contracts that were entered into during the year over 100,000 that did not have that were not properly bonded with state statutes. And really what that is anytime you enter into a contract over 100,000 for new construction, repair of buildings, things of that nature, the state statutes require that you get a public work bond that's filed with the district court. And what that does is that protects the county in case the contractor that you contracted with, they subcontract out work or buy supplies from a third-party vendor. If that contractor fails to pay them, that protects the county because those vendors are probably going to come to the county requesting payment since it was for you. But you're going to say, no, we signed a contract with this contractor, not you guys. So that bond just kind of protects the county in that situation. Okay. Compensated landfill, notes receivable. So here was all the debt as of December 31st, 2024. On the county side, we do have the lease with the senior living facility again. So we do have the related municipal entity, the building commission. They've entered the debt and then they've leased it to you guys. So these two things will basically mirror each other. The lease that you guys have will match what the PBC is showing as part of the bonds, and you guys are basically levying dollars needed to send that money to the PBC to meet the annual debt and interest requirements. Okay. And then we have the landfill compactor. So this stuff just shows you the kind of the current year activity, what we start off the year as far as outstanding principal payments, balance at the end of the year, and then total interest paid. First by the county, this stuff would be on the county's books, and then this stuff would be on the Public Building Commission. But since Ashley is acting as the treasurer for the PBC and they are in CIC under the county, that's why we've elected to include them in your financial statement to meet their annual audit requirements. Okay, and then here are principal and interest requirements for the next 5 years, and then 5-year increments through the date of maturity. Starting on page 16, these are the regulatory required supplementary information. They're not part of the basic financial statement that we're issuing our opinion on, but are required to be presented under KMAG. So the other kind of big thing with the regulatory based accounting is the budget law. So this schedule here is showing our compliance with the budget. So the first column were the adopted budget or adopted expenditures from the budget for 2024. Whether we had any adjustment for qualifying budget credits, total budget for comparison, and then our expenditures charged to that fund during the year. So we would want things to be in parentheses, meaning expenditures came in under budget. Okay, starting on page 17 are the individual fund financial statements. This kind of gives you more detailed of the revenue and expenditures by fund with comparison to the previous year. Again, a lot of the revenues will kind of fluctuate as far as the ad valorem tax will kind of fluctuate based on how we budget dollars. Occasionally we'll, again, we'll shift those dollars between all your levied funds based off available cash and where we need those levied dollars. But so again, for the most part, your revenues do stay pretty consistent in the general fund, but revenue dollars can fluctuate depending on how we budget. Okay. And then we've got our expenditures by department. So again, we did spend down general fund cash. Some of that, again, that's nothing I would say that's unusual or is cause for alarm. Again, that was just a budgeting thing that we had built up cash in general funds. So we took some of those dollars and shifted them to other levy funds where they were needed. Okay, appraiser fund. We're going to kind of go through some of these quickly if you don't mind, because again, a lot of this is information that you've been getting throughout the year, and there's nothing that was really unusual that I felt merited your attention to specifically look at. Again, city county recreation, this kind of just a pass through. Our county health fund. Direct election, employee benefits. Again, this is probably one where we took dollars that we were levying for general funds since we had built up cash and shifted them over to employee benefits, trying to get that cash built back up because the cost of health insurance, things have just rised over the last several years. Noxious weed fund. Noxious weed capital outlay, road and bridge fund, again, kind of look at what the revenues they brought in, what they expended, plus we were able to transfer $150,000 to special machinery and carry over the cash that we would like to carry over based off what we budgeted for future road grader costs. Okay, and then you start getting into our special purpose funds. So these are funds that we bring in. The revenues, they have to be used for a specified purpose. So we've got our special alcohol program that could kind of be used. It's supposed to be used for like drug and alcohol prevention or education within the county. Special parks and rec, again, that's to maintain parks or recreational activities that the county supports. Here's our special machinery fund. So with that transfer of 150,000 at the end of the year, we have a little bit over $1 million sitting in there for to purchase equipment for the road and bridge fund. And again, this is only for the road and bridge. It cannot be used by other departments of the county. Capital improvement fund. This is money that's set aside for improvements to the county's infrastructure, whether that be county-owned buildings, county-owned streets, roads. Equipment reserve. I think that there is a portion of the ambulance that was purchased in 2024. Services, cemetery. So these again are levy funds where basically the county's levying the dollars. It's collected, remitted to the county, and then you send it to them to be used. And then they use it at their discretion, and they usually have boards that kind of oversee this. Donation funds, grant funds, opioid settlement, ARPA grant fund. Again, that money, that was that part of COVID that had to be spent out by December 31st, 2024. So again, that grant has come to an end finally, thank goodness. Here's our 2023 1% sales tax road improvement fund. Here's the old sales tax for road project fund. Again, that bond's been paid off, so any sales tax that's sitting in there, I don't know, is Ashley in there?
Yes,
Yeah, I don't, did that sales tax, did that sunset when those bonds got paid off?
Yes,
I believe it did.
yes.
Yeah, obviously, there's no sales tax in there. So again, all that's gonna kind of do is earn interest, so that 3.5 million can be used for future road projects until it's used up. Then we've got our bond and interest fund. Again, this is the taxes that are being levied, that then the rental payments that are being sent to the Public Building Commission to meet those principal and interest payments. Solid waste fund, our landfill excavation fund. There's our post-closure landfill fund, money that we've set aside for those future post-closure care costs. Jail commissary. And then these are our trust funds. These are funds that are being held by the county, but do not necessarily belong to the county. So this automotive special. So those are those motor vehicle fees that are collected by the county treasurer's office. Some of that goes to the state of Kansas. Some of it gets used for a part of her salary. And then the rest gets transferred to the general fund. So these are the related municipal entity funds. So these are this is the one fund that the RME has, the Public Building Commission. They used to have a construction fund during the construction phase, but now we're just down to this debt service fund. So it's basically just an in and out. We bring in the basic rental payments. They make the bond and principal payments, gets down to a zero cash balance. Okay, and these are our agency funds as of December 31st, 2024. Again, some of these distributive funds do belong to the county, but they'll come to the county as part of the January 2025 tax distribution. So some of this current tax will go into your general fund, noxious weed, road and bridge, all those levied funds. And then some of that will be used by the county, then some of them will go to those various other entities like the conservation district, library, so forth. A bulk of this money will go down into these subdivision funds that then the treasurer will distribute to the various school districts, townships, cities, and fire districts within your county. okay, we've got these 2 state funds. These are just 2 funds that are required by state statutes that the county has. It's basically an in and an out. And then these are funds that are being held in bank accounts at the various departments. So we've got our court trustee. The reason that one's zeroed out is because those funds were being maintained by your court trustee upstairs. But those funds got, as part of the district court, they agreed those funds got shifted over to the Thomas County Court Trustee, and they're going to count for them. So those will start showing up on the Thomas County's audit report. Clerk of the district court, the bulk of that money is supposed to be pulled out by the state of Kansas into their court services. That was supposed to be done in 2023 and then again in 2024. I don't know why they're waiting so long to pull that out. Again, all that should be, once that's done, all that will be in there is $200, an interest balance that they maintain. Otherwise, that money's going into their bank account and then it's getting pulled back out by the state of Kansas. Then we've got our inmate funds. So these are funds that are being held at the sheriff's department that belong to the inmates, or will come to the commissary if they buy stuff out of the commissary with that. And then we've got our law library. Any questions, comments? I know that's a lot of information, so if you look through this later on, if you have questions, let me know. Ashley, how many hard copies would you like mailed?
5, please.
5? Okay. I'll send you 5 of your audit report and then a couple of the landfill. I did email some stuff to Ashley that I'll need signed by her and Harvey and Rod at the Road and Bridge Department and mailed back to me. Otherwise, another year done.
Very good. Yeah, it's good. I have no other questions at this time.
I don't either.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye. Glassman's Plumbing, I think they're up there working, aren't they?
Thought they were supposed to meet with you
Oh,
guys
they're
to talk
supposed-
about the water plant.
Okay. They might be.
Did they give you a bid, Ashley? Have they said anything?
No, William's been the contact for that.
Okay. I know he talked to me one day about coming down to meet with them, and then he said they turned around, called him, and said they'd like to come meet with us, which is, I said, that's fine.
Yeah.
Based off that audit report, is it, and this might be a question for Ashley, is it fair to say that a vast majority of any cash on hand belongs to certain fund, like the Road and Bridge Fund?
Right.
So that we have that money when it's time and it's not just a, okay, this year we're gonna increase the budget by $1 million because we need 2 road graders.
Correct. And a lot of that money is sitting there and it's designated for certain things, like it's in
Right.
certain funds or it's tied up.
So
It's 911 funds, it's,
if you were to just look at our budget and see we've got $5 million of cash on hand, that doesn't mean that we just have
Right.
access to $5 million in cash.
Right, that, you know,
we have access,
line item?
Well, yes,
but for certain things.
Yeah,
and
'cause-
that's done for for what I just said, so we don't have, you know, if Rod comes in this year, so his 2026 budget is $1.5 million more because he needs 2 road graders.
right,
And then, you know, when we're talking revenue neutral rate, then you're vastly over.
Yeah.
We've specifically incrementally added to those funds, right?
Yes,
How about the interest on those funds?
depends on the account.
So it has to stay with the account most of the time?
Yeah, so if it's a separate bank account, that interest gets posted to that account. Otherwise, it goes into just the
The
general.
general?
That question just occurred, since we're in budget season, I just,
well, yeah, because it
It's-
looks,
it's
if you
deceiving.
look at the total line, you're going, wow, we got a lot of money sitting there. But, you
Well, we're
know,
about to spend, what, $1 million or $2 million on the old Highway 24?
right, 1 million.
1.8, our share is 1.8, we're
Yeah.
getting $1 million.
Yeah,
But I don't quite understand the revenue neutral rate mindset because, and we've had this conversation before, if all of your expenditures stay the same, but then you reward your employees with a 3% increase, you're going to exceed that revenue neutral rate. Unless you've got rid of a whole bunch of employees and you've got new employees that are starting at lower salaries. So, I mean, I find it hard to believe that a county is not going to exceed that revenue neutral rate.
yeah.
But that's just me. Nobody asked my opinion.
You just gave it anyway. So,
Well, I mean, we're getting into that season, so I mean,
yes,
I think that when people see, well, they're exceeding the revenue neutral rate, I'm not sure a lot of people understand truly what that means.
well, you know, I've talked to a couple other commissioners and they were saying, well, you know, we're right at that revenue neutral rate, but if we don't, like you said, reward the employees with the increase or anything, then you exceed. Well,
And that's not including, you know, the assumption that fuel's gonna go up. I mean,
Right.
you know, things like that, so everybody's got higher cost.
and exceeding the revenue neutral rate, I know like, I think it was Cheyenne County, they exceeded it by $27. But
Yeah.
they exceeded it, and so you have to, you know, so that's,
I think it was 2 years ago, we exceeded it by like $23,000 or something, and I think I made the comment, we exceeded it by $23,000 in a $10 million budget. In government terms, that's revenue neutral.
yeah.
It just, I just don't get how that plays out. I guess the only way you could not exceed it is vastly expand your budget and go
Yes.
2 or 3 years before you have to increase it again.
Right,
But that doesn't do anybody any favor.
no,
It's either pay a little at a time or a lot all at once. That's the way it is.
Well, and the cost of, I mean, ambulance, what that ambulance cost us.
200.
It was 250,000, but that was for two.
But I mean, still 10 years ago,
I know.
Yeah, you could have bought the whole fleet.
yeah,
Yeah,
But look at the fire truck that was purchased, you know, recently for the fire department, $400 and some thousand, where 10 years ago we were buying trucks for 180,
Yeah.
200.
well, and
They've doubled.
like the one we ordered, you know, we ordered it 3 years out.
Yeah, that was, and it took almost 3 years to get it.
Yeah. Do we have any contact information with Glassman? Do you
I
know?
text William and said that we're ready for them whenever they get here.
Hey, Ashley, I did have another thing. Kenny Sanderson called and said the state, you know, he was awarded that $40,000 grant
Mhm.
from the state, and he was hoping to get a check and bring it in, but it's a direct deposit. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
If you could be watching
Yeah.
for it, and then we would make an announcement next meeting
Yeah.
that was received.
this year's tax sale, we have set the date, it will be August 14th. And I actually think sometime this week is when the first publication will be.
And did you say how many properties you have?
I think out of 23, we're down to 9 left,
Okay.
so a little over half have been redeemed.
That's good. That's real good.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that.
Well, one thing, we've set a precedence and a trend, you know.
I was telling Katrina that I think the idea of doing it every year helped.
Yeah. So you don't have the immense.
You don't have 80 or 100 and some parcels.
Yeah.
And out of those 9, I think 6 of them are, I really think there's only 3 or 4 real estate parcels left. The rest are
Mineral rights.
mineral rights. You know, there's still a few of those that are trickling along. But
Is the carpet complete?
no, he finished up Katrina's office last weekend. He'd done the main part the weekend before, and then back where Katrina's desk and stuff is, I think he did last weekend.
Okay.
And then we did find out that we were about 800 square feet short of carpet, so that had to be,
Ordered.
so Billy's office is the last one.
Okay.
Liberty, short or
That I don't know.
Is that gonna kill our budget, like if we try to do some of these pipe repairs?
Depends on how much it is.
Yeah,
I would say the answer is yes.
Hurry up and wait, I guess, huh?
mm-hmm.
Brad, on a tax sale, say a partial of, or the oil leases or that go for less than what the taxes are on it. The person buying it have to make up the difference on
Yeah.
those taxes.
Nope, from the date of the actual sale, everything that is due that day and prior is wiped out.
Okay.
Now, after the sale, if we have, which does happen, if we have parcels that sell for more, there is a formula that apportions that excess to the others. So we do get some of that back. I want to say it was 2016. The county has the ability to set the opening bid at the overdue taxes, and the commission at that time said no, because if it doesn't sell for that, then the county's got for instance, the mineral interest, which are
Right.
essentially worthless to the county. And so they said, just get what you can. So, I mean, you have that option, but it's always been the opinion of the commission to just, what it brings is what it brings. The whole point is to just get it
Get
in
it.
somebody that's gonna pay the taxes. And anything in excess goes first to our cost. When we first file it, there's a formula that apportions the actual cost, so we do an estimate of what title fees, newspaper publications, all of that, what that is going to cost. Same thing, copies, everything. So
Yes.
we look at previous ones to see how much it costs us per parcel. And then that gets apportioned out. So if somebody comes in to redeem, so for instance, this tax sale, not only did you have to pay all the back due taxes and interest, but you had to pay $550, and that was your parcel's apportioned cost to put on the sale. And so if anything brings over the amount that they owe, it goes first to the county's cost. And with the exception of the mineral only sale we did a couple of years ago, we've always recouped the cost of the county.
Yeah, cause some of the minerals are an eighth of 10% or,
Well,
very,
it was a quarter of a 1,000th over 9,000th and something
Yeah.
of a third or something like
Yes.
that, that mineral only sale, we knew we were gonna lose the money on it. It was simply just trying to get things squared
getting
away.
cleaned up.
Cause I think the vast majority of those went for like 25 cents.
Yeah.
But it was also tough the way we had to do it, the way we had to separate all of those out. If you were the purchaser, and when we sold them, we tried to group them together, and I think the most sold were like three in a package. If you paid 25 cents, you paid 75 cents total, but then you had the $31 for every deed. And so if you were buying several, it was kind of tough to get the buyers enticed to, when you're spending $100 and some to file the deed and you only paid $1.60 for
Yeah.
for the minerals, but that's
Oh, a lot of them were like pieces of land that I don't think they knew that they had some of the mineral rights and didn't get bought at the time
Yeah.
that they changed hands and so, cleaning it up was the best thing.
And we've tried, some of them in the past, we've talked about where we've removed it from the tax sale. Last year I know we had some that were going to expire in like November,
Right,
and then it would revert to the current landowner. So we've tried to take those out and send out letters here and there saying, hey, this is going to be on your tax statement now. Just a lot of cleanup.
because you have to send, at least 3 letters to the landowners or the owner of the parcels or whatever? And do all 3 of those have to be certified or registered letters or,
Well, so guaranteed 2
okay,
if they answer the first petition. So everything has to be sent out certified mail. If they're local and it comes back to us, if it's a local address, then we try service by sheriff's office. But most of the time, if it comes back by the mail, the funny thing is we had it listed as a mailing address, and when the sheriff's office goes out there, it's a vacant lot. And so then but if you've been served by certified mail, and we have to file that with the court to show that they picked it up, you have 21 days in which to file an answer, which is, yes, I own it, and yes, I owe it, or yes, I own it, and no, I disagree with this, whatever. If they file an answer, then everything that we file has to be sent to them as well.
Okay.
If they do not file an answer, then at the end of that 21 days, we get a default judgment against them. And what takes so long is rather than filing a default judgment after every single one, we wait until 21 days has passed for the very last one. Then we have those that we couldn't get served personally. We have no idea where they are, so then we serve by publication. And then 41 days after that, because you have some that are out of county or maybe out of county, then it's 41 days after that publication is when we get the default and move forward with the sale. That's kind of why the tax sales take so long.
right.
And why they get expensive.
I was gonna say, that looks like a sheriff, not the
It was
plumber.
a sheriff.
She wasn't after me?
Nope, your name wasn't called.
Yeah, not yet. And we're gonna do budgets right after workshop. You watch fireworks from your front yard or?
We went over to Mike and Trista's,
Okay.
a couple blocks away. They have a better view than we do.
Well, I watched it from the same place I've watched it for a lot of years, seat of the combine. But see, I can see all the other ones that shoot off their
You
fireworks.
can, yeah, you can see it distant.
Yeah. Some of the salute charges, you can tell
Yes,
pretty bright. I don't have any sound, but I could
Nope.
imagine what they sounded like.
it was loud in town.
So, you were on, I guess,
My son-in-law over at Hoxie, they were moving into their last field. And they had everything cut, and they did get done, but as they were moving over in the last field, they looked back and the field that they had just cut was on fire.
Hmm.
At least it was cut.
Yeah, it was cut. So
Lightning strike, or did
I'm assuming it was probably one of the
one of the machines through it?
Mechanical.
machine vehicle caught it, but they had a tractor and a disc sitting by, so they hopped right in it and got right out, but he's the chief of fire department over there.
Mhm.
He got a message that there was a fire, and he goes, "A fire? Where the heck is a fire? I want to finish
I'm
it.
right
I
here.
want to finish that." He looked over his shoulder and goes, "Oh, I'm going that far if I want to or not."
Yeah.
I didn't hear if there's very many fires.
I don't think there were very many wheat fires here. I know there's been some accidents lately.
Yeah, I know they talked about a couple out on interstate,
Yeah.
but they had to get covered. They talked about, the commercial of the Subaru, they walked away, well, they had a Subaru catch on fire out on interstate and it was fully engulfed. They had to turn it over to get to the fuel
That the
tank.
one that hit the deer?
You wanted me to send that to you one. That was that gentleman.
So did you get rain this weekend?
Yeah, just depends on where you're at.
Another spotty one?
Yeah, 35 at the house. My south well got 50. Alice got 60 over by town.
Mm-hmm.
We're moved to our last field, but, we needed some sunshine on it to
Yeah.
help dry it out, cause we'll need hot days to finish it.
So you're not quite done.
Nope. One field left and it's kinda weedy, so.
Yeah.
Well, you're yielding very well.
Very spotted, very spotted. We
kinda
had
what I've
one
heard.
field, one end of the field did great and the other end did terrible
Yeah.
in a half mile. And that was, I talked to a neighbor right next to him, and he goes, yeah, he said, the west end was great. I said, the east end isn't not so good. So, it's just been kinda all over the place on yields, so. I invited our, CEO of the hospital, asked her if she'd ever experienced weed harvest, and she goes, no. And I said, well, I'm cutting if you'd like to come join me. And she said, today? And I go, no, it don't have to be. I'll be cutting most of the week. So she came out Friday afternoon and rode on the combine with me. And she took video and stuff. And so I put her behind the driver's seat. And she goes, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Well, push this button and you'll go this way. I said, yeah, you'll find out that, we don't work too hard in that combine camp sometimes, so.
Until it breaks down. Then
Well,
you
until
gotta
it
work.
breaks down,
Yeah.
or you have to turn around and or go dump on the truck. And I told her, I said, please be nice to my truck, don't hit it, so. She thought that was pretty nice, so. I'm not very good with my camera on my phone, cause I tried taking a picture and all I got was glare, so. I wanted to send it to Mr. Cure and say, I've got a person here applying for a job here, so.
Yeah.
If we keep getting these rains, there's gonna be a lot of fall crops,
Mm-hmm.
lots of corn and
And
milo.
dryland corn's looking really good in
Yes.
some areas, that's for sure.
Next couple of weeks will tell the story.
Yes,
on
it will. But they put rain back in the forecast into this week,
Okay,
so we'll see.
yeah, 'cause go over in Colorado, they got 2 inches. Down by Weston, they got 3 and 4.
Wow. It's pretty green all the way to Fort Collins, that's for sure.
Good.
Right up in the Front Range, it's dry right there. It's strange how those clouds come out before they start dumping. Mm-hmm.
The upslope off of the mountain and
Yep.
if the jet stream makes her drop or not.
About rain, I have a friend that lives down in Texas where, pretty close where all the flooding was taking place. Yesterday, he emailed me, because they had a couple more floods out yesterday down there. But he kind of lives up on the ridge, but he said this camper, it was almost a dry bed. Baseline had 0 water in it, and in 45 minutes it raised 33 feet.
Oh,
33 feet, he goes, well, I don't even know if that would even hold that much
Yeah.
water. Said that we've never seen water in it.
They probably felt like Noah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, he said, man, he said, is it supposed to rain like this? And they're still getting rain.
Yeah.
But if you looked at the map, all the water is just, moisture just streaming right in that area.
The day that the dust storm hit here in March, we were driving down through Texas, and we hit dust in some of those river beds that are flooded now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been right through there.
The contingency plans of some of those counties is gonna be big,
Yes.
somewhere.
Still so many people missing too.
Yes. But the power of all that water, how far?
Yeah.
Don't know if we have to really prepare for a flood here. Might
It's-
not be many other things, but I don't know
No.
if a flood would be one of them.
Well,
How much water it would take for the Smoky to flood, guys?
well,
that's
it's,
that's done it before though.
Has it?
yep,
Yeah.
I can remember somebody took pictures of it running over the top of the, 2 foot over the top of the spillway.
Or the Beaver Creek in 1989 was
Really?
half a mile wide in some places.
Really?
Yeah, we won't see the vastness of the flooding, but,
You can have, isolated areas. Pretty
but
bad.
see, like the Smoky, that has to come from eastern Colorado.
Isn't that start south of Flagler, I
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
But it could take a big rain up there. And it can get here.
Yeah. It's interesting, like making floodgates on your pastures and stuff, you see the water coming, you might lose one floodgate, but you can go,
Yeah.
cause it's gotta follow the contour of the ground to get the other ones opened up and. Yeah, cause I remember, when it was Don Smith feedlot out here where H.R. Stevens is now, that flooded so bad they had, cut cables on the pens to let the cattle,
That really,
yeah. So it can,
yeah. And the history of the Smoky Gardens, that dam has been washed out a couple times.
Really?
Mhm. I think the current one is the longest standing one.
yeah. But I can remember 4th of July, somebody was sailing out on the state lake, that it filled back up and.
You hear a lot of history about that. What really happened to that state lake?
There's conflicts of interest on some of that the dam should have been set a different direction, cause the water has to go so far around to come up on the dam and it went across the spillway more, and just the simple,
The springs that fed it, the groundwater dropped.
it's like Bonnie Dam, look how, of course theirs was statutes of law to,
Drain it.
drain
Yeah.
it,
They're about 15 minutes away.
okay,
Just thought I'd let you guys know.
Thank you.
Take a break.
yep,
Can I put us on recess?
Recess for 15?
yes,
Are
Make
they
a-
the last thing on the agenda?
yes,
Okay, I think I'll watch it from my
okay,
comfort of my
thank you.
couch.
Okay, thank you, Marilyn.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna go use the restroom.
Quick main session. It's okay.
No, it's not.
Pull up a chair.
I hope the guy that works out here can get here on time, that's what I'd say.
Sorry about this.
My card, I'm Joe Glassman.
We can't quite start yet, can we, Ashley?
We have to wait for the other.
Yeah, wait, yeah, he's here, and then
Harvey and
I'm Kevin,
Kevin, okay.
and then we have Steve. We'll be right back.
A little low for me.
Does anybody else want one of these folders to look through?
Okay.
Kevin Zimmerman.
Yes.
William, would you like one of these?
Gordy.
It's William, isn't it?
Yeah, William.
I
Got one thing right today. His name's William.
started out this morning this way, by the way, right about dawn. It's a Monday. If you have an extra one, you should give it to the county clerk, please.
I do have one right here.
Any rain out here lately?
Was it Saturday morning early?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Sorry,
about a half an inch.
I was out last Monday morning to Logan County Commissioners in Oakley. They had a nice rain from about Logan, Oakley, or Gulf County line. Not one drop beyond.
Yeah,
But they must have had an inch and a half.
it's been spotty,
We haven't had any rain and haze. It's been awful.
been
Awful.
dry.
Awful. Goes right around us every time, north and south.
The bubble effect. That's what we
Great
usually
Bend's
get.
had a lot of rain, Dodge City's had a lot of rain, and east at Salina's been pounded. Which we cannot get a rain shower. I didn't think you had any, cause
Couple last few years, this time of year has been really dry.
Yeah.
We feel, well, we're a little greener right now than normal.
I was supposed to meet with, Dwight Chipperfield,
Mhm.
doing some work with him. He said, I'm cutting weed as fast as I can.
Yeah.
So he said, can we wait a week? I said, sure. He must farm a lot of acreage,
He's a big farmer.
because when I first was out here, Joe came back in a couple of weeks. I called him and said, I can't cut. He said, "Like 4 weeks of planting corn? My goodness. I said, that's huge. Harvest must be coming to an end out here.
I think it
They're
is
pretty
close
close.
here.
Yeah.
Most of them are, they're probably 95% done, I would think.
Probably.
Well, just to start, before we wait for Stephen, I've done probably work in over 15 courthouses in Kansas, maybe more. I've done mostly heating and air and HVAC work,
Mhm.
but also plumbing. The last plumbing retrofit we did was in Ellsworth County. We did last spring and summer for them. Same exact type of thing you got going on right here. So we'll talk about that today. I'll give you an estimate, and then when you tell me which way you want to do this, because you have some complications, I'll have a price for you yet this week. All I got to do is put the bundles together and see how it goes. But we'll probably give you a little bit of a fairly firm price with any. We should put some kind of a price in that's soft, because we don't know what we're gonna run into in some of these walls. That's where the problem lies.
Right.
We got walls that have been plastered over and marble, which we typically don't cut marble if you've got any anywhere. That's very difficult to cut, very difficult to replace, to make it look nice. So come up with some alternative things and ways to do it. So we'll talk about that this morning. I got a whole book full of photos for you to look at that we've taken, and then find out a route to take that looks aesthetically pleasing. Some of it actually is in concrete.
Yeah. They wasn't designed to be replumbed, was it?
Not easily, no.
And that's been part of the sticking point about how we're gonna approach this, because this is one of the first ones where they actually poured it into concrete in some cases. Typically you go below or above or out.
Yeah.
The one at Ellsworth, we had chases. They were smart enough that wherever they built plumbing, they had a chase behind it where you could actually crawl in.
Yeah.
We cut it all out, put it all back. This is not like that. So that creates a real issue. Whenever that waste pipe or vent pipe rots out in that concrete, which it will,
Mm-hmm.
then it's almost an acid. It's gonna start going through the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta get away from that and get up in there out.
Do something different.
Yeah.
This is Steve.
Steve, I'm Joe Glassman.
Pleased to meet you,
Deep
sir.
apologies for being late. I actually was there in the office and said, maybe we ought to get going here, because we had
Dave Shingle.
2 different dates on our calendar. Our fault. One person said, 10, well, they said, what was it, 10 o'clock
We have a
Central?
10 o'clock meeting, so I took that as 10 o'clock Mountain.
Yeah.
I thought we had to, so they meant that we had to be here by 10 Central, so
Yeah.
it's on
The
me.
Mountain Centrals is always an issue.
Dave's mindless today, let's just put it that way.
It's my fault.
There we go.
Now let's get to
Well,
business.
you know, if that's all that we have to worry about, I'm not too excited.
Dave is senior project manager. And he
Okay.
was a senior project manager on the Ellsworth project that we had a superintendent on. So I'm Joe Glassman, and my background, I think we've worked out here before. We did some air conditioning 4 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yes.
So what I brought you was some of the courthouses we worked on, which has been all over, from right now I'm working at Smith County, Lincoln County, and, Logan County, and soon to go back into Ellis County again.
We have Decatur County that we've given
And
numbers
Decatur
to.
County, is also a plumbing bid, just like yours. And they're mulling it over to see how they can do it. They've got an issue because they've got a jail sitting on top, which has been problematic. Yours is separate.
Mhm.
They're getting pressure from, do something with your jail. That's the issue they're dealing with. Which creates for us, from a mechanical and plumbing standpoint, a whole nother issue, because you have to meet all new codes. So I've got 4 or 5 of these things going at one time, so. Steve, we did in the spring and last summer, we did a repiping of Ellsworth County. Dave was in charge of that, had a superintendent on it. We've got superintendents in Salina, Hayes, Great Bend, out here in Colby. We try to take the best look at everything we're doing. That's why we're very cautious about repipe. Because we want to come up with systems that don't tear out a bunch of walls and so forth, because the price goes way up and it gets out of line. And I told him while you were gone, we're very careful with marble, because it's tough to match, it's tough to cut, it's something you don't want to replace. It'll never look the same again.
Right.
So we try to stay away from anything in the marble and try to fake it, and get around it and go and find another route. So you've got some actually that's even buried in the concrete, which we just don't do things like that anymore. For the most part, I think you can get away, Dave, without having to put cast iron back.
Yeah, I think because of the system you have, we can go to PVC just about everywhere. I noticed that you already have some of your water mains have switched over to PEX or Uponor.
Down the stairs. That's the reason why I brought this to the commissioner's attention, because of having to replace already stuff down there in the boiler room.
So how far did you get? Does that go outside? Did you replace the outside as well when you did
Yes.
that?
We had replaced the outside one. Actually, do you remember when you done that?
So it's meter to the basement is
To the
new.
meter all the way in.
A couple of years ago.
Something like that.
So what we're gonna try to do is use what is a commercial grade, but may use a couple different types of application based upon whether it's aesthetic, looking at it, or whether it's not. In most commercial buildings, and that's about 95% of our building, we are restrained because of insurance and code to use PVC in areas that have return error. They don't want that. And the reason is because if there's a fire, it puts off a fume that could kill somebody.
Right.
So we have to either insulate it with 1 to 1.5 inch fiberglass and tape it, put it in, which we've done before, or we have to reroute it. So I'm gonna let Dave ask the questions about what you wanna do and where you wanna do it in certain areas. As I told the other 2 commissioners, once we know which direction you wanna go, we'll price it this week, we'll give it to you, okay? I think the Ellsworth County job was right at $100,000. Tear it out and put it back. We don't wanna leave and abandon, we're not that kind of company, and the reason is, it's gonna come back to haunt you later. You're gonna have odor issues, you could cap for a while, but if cast iron has a life of about 50 years, believe it or not, maybe longer. And what happens with cast iron, we've done it in hospitals and clinics and everything else, you have a seam that opens up. It actually has a seam in it, you wouldn't believe that, but there is a seam in cast iron. After about 40 or 50 years, you get a split and people start complaining about headaches or, smell and so forth. You can actually stick your fingers in it, like 4-inch pipe, it splits. Well, it's gotta come out. So, if it's in an area where we can use PVC, we'll put PVC back in. If it's in an area where, you might have an area where we can't do it in PVC, we have to join it to new cast iron. Some of it's gonna be exposed, okay? So what we wanna do is figure out ways to get it exposed and cover it if we can. So aesthetically, you're not ruining the look of the building or the areas. Some of it, we may have to dress up as best we can and paint it. So some of it may have a sweat issue. Even in plumbing, you will have, if you use a lot of cold water, for example, where you have a gang of bathrooms, it has to have insulation on it because it will sweat on you and then you're gonna have stains all over the place. So I'm gonna let you take over and ask the questions. You're the guy that's in the field and on the ground.
Okay. So I see that through James's notes and the visit he had with William, I'm going through that. So the meter to the basement is new, everything that's in the mechanical room is new. We plan to use what we can, pretty much, like the water mains. The water heater needs to be replaced is one thing that you wanted added to this, I understand.
Well, it probably wouldn't hurt, but
Okay.
we'll have to go back with electric hot water heater up down there.
So you want electric, okay? Okay,
The hot water heater don't put out enough heat to send up.
so do you have a return pump on your water heater? I couldn't see that in the pictures. So that's one thing that we would probably, if we're able to bring from the upper floors down, we would put a return loop back so that you'd have recirculated hot water.
So
It
hot
won't,
water's
it
already
doesn't
up
take
there.
a half an inch line will do everything you want it to do.
Mhm.
So,
Because all you're trying to do is temper the water. You're not trying to carry any water. That goes on the supply side. And as far as electric, it's fine. You're not gonna use that kind of hot water in this building.
No.
you're probably
have
not
gang
getting
showers
hot
and stuff
water
like that
anywhere,
anymore.
so.
No.
That's the reason why we went with the hot water, electric hot water heater down there was because it didn't have enough heat to send
The
the
fluid,
exhaust.
it wouldn't.
Oh, it wouldn't
Going
vent
out.
anymore.
Didn't
Okay.
run off,
Because
didn't
the
run long enough.
Exhaust, the
Yeah.
hot water heater and the boilers were all plumbed into the same flue. And when we shut the boilers down, we were still having,
You had a big flue on.
yeah,
So you couldn't create enough heat to make that
right.
flue active.
And they said even if we went with the smaller, the 4-inch pipe or whatever for the exhaust, it wouldn't,
Another thing you may consider is
Breach, clean
if
up.
we look at the areas where you actually do need hot water, is because it's electric, you can split them. So you get over this issue of trying to create draft. That's what you're trying to do. So you may have two or one per floor, or things like that. If you have the power over there, that may be the way to go, with a pan on the bottom to make sure if it does leak, it drains it off somewhere it doesn't. There's things that you can put in. You can put warning signs, and it's called flagging, where if you have one leaking, it indicates a flag or puts an alarm off. So that'll come down the road. Those are the kind of decisions you make as we go.
Does the third floor have hot water okay, like at the sink?
if you run it, well,
We gotta run a long time.
That's why you gotta
They
either
gotta
put a
move.
recirc in, or you gotta put it upstairs.
Steps, yeah.
You make those decisions as you go. And, well, whatever it costs on the first floor, it's gonna cost on the third floor, unless you've gotta do a bunch of extra piping. Where are the problematic areas that you gotta redo?
So there's the crawl space. The one question for the crawl space is there asbestos issues in there? Is it contained asbestos? Do you know? Is there an asbestos
know?
report?
I can guarantee you there's asbestos down there.
Okay, well, here's my old saying, we don't touch the A word.
Yeah.
Because it's a liability for you and it's a liability for me. And if you have asbestos, you either have to seal that off or you have to get rid of it. And asbestos removal has come down quite a bit over the last several years. There's more players, gotta move it. So if it's in an area where people are gonna breathe it, when I mean contain it, I do mean contain it. You can't have any crack, it's gotta be all put back in and caulked and glued, and it's gotta be contained where no air can come out and it can't touch anybody because it's a liability issue.
So you probably don't have a survey in the last 5 years where anybody's done any asbestos inspection.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So
That's
what
fine.
we'll do then, with your permission, is we will call probably 2 companies in that we work with. One's out of Wichita, one's out of Kearney, Nebraska, is that right?
Correct.
And they're both good, they're both competitive in price. You need an assessment done, even if it has to go on your records. You have to be able to prove to your insurance company
That
and
we have,
anybody else that comes in that you've had an assessment done. And then what we'll have, and we'll have them price it at the same time to us. All we get is a management fee to administer them. That we make sure they do their job right, they fill out all the reports, and that's the only fee we got, which is like 10%, okay? Once that's done, then you'll have to make a decision as to what the recommendation is, and you gotta move on it. Go, because I can't go in, take a pipe out that's had any kind of asbestos on it.
Yeah.
They have to take it out, they have to wash it down, they put a primer grade paint on it. That tells us we can move forward and tear it out.
OSHA requires us to have that air clearance because you have a dirt floor in your in your crawl space, because our guys would be crawling through the dirt.
Right.
So that's why I'm asking that question,
Okay.
for the safety of our workers as well as everybody else, because we're gonna stir it up.
Right.
It's gonna go everywhere in your building, so
Right.
that's why I asked that question.
I don't think you'll stir it up as much as Brett stirred up when he tore the wall out, but that was,
I didn't do anything, road and bridge.
okay.
Okay, so then, we talked cast and PVC, we would use PVC wherever we're not in a return plenum. Cast iron might be something that we would talk about if we have an exposed pipe that we need to run exposed and we want to paint it. We may switch to cast iron through those areas. That's going to be an as we go. They work well together. We can make the connections. There won't be any leak issues with that. We would probably refer to your inspectors as well if they have a preference. But if there's no return air, if it's not a return air plenum, I can use PVC, and that gives you a better system. There are a couple places where
If you use, just so I can point this out, if you use PVC where we need to, which would be a lot cheaper to use,
Yes.
in areas that is a noise consideration, we still would put some
Yeah.
kind of insulation on it,
correct.
because it's noisy. That's the one thing cast iron
Muffles.
has raised.
Um,
Besides that, you and I probably both won't be here in 40 years, so 50 years.
in the pipe chases, we will cut everything that's exposed out. It would be all new PVC. We wouldn't go through the roof. We'd cut below the roof unless the pipe is cracked going out. We'd reuse that vent stack to not affect your roof. We can mount all the pipe back to the block on the backside. Try and use all the same holes as long as the rough end works. My assumption is that we're pricing all new fixtures, or are we just leaving the old fixtures and replacing the piping? That was one question I wasn't sure of.
I'm of the opinion I would go with a new fixture.
Okay, so the only fixtures that would be an issue is, and I don't know from the pictures, are there any floor drained urinals, the long ones that go into the floor with the drain?
No.
Okay, so yeah, we would be able to price.
We did have them down here on this floor, but we've closed that bathroom off when we redid.
Yeah, no, in Ellsworth, we left those.
Because they don't
You
make
tear your
them
whole
anymore.
floor, you got terrazzo around them.
Okay.
We just dressed them up and put new flush valves and so forth. If you don't have that, we just replace your fixtures and get new flush valves and so forth on them. And you do need to have a automatic flush valve in a building like this.
Most of all the toilets and urinals has a flush valve.
Okay. So some of your toilets were, from the pictures, have like the flush valves coming out the sidewall because they must have done some renovations at
Right.
some time.
Yeah.
Would our anticipation be to just go back like that, or do you want us to write them and put them in the walls? Again, that's probably how they could get to them. So some of them, like this toilet right here, for example, see how the
Yeah.
water comes out the sidewall? I'm gonna guess it has to do with the access point and everything. I would assume we
Yeah.
would just plumb it the same
Plummet
way.
the way, yes.
Okay.
I would say this, if we can get to it and get back where it belongs, we'll correct it. Again, this is one of those,
Yeah.
you make decisions as you go.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to rely on you guys for
Yeah,
a lot
so
of this.
the other side, these are side entrance. Those are special order. So on some of these, we might have to have a hole that's going to be in your wall that's patched. We might have to move that water line up. See how they're,
Typically,
see
if
they're
we
down the
expose
side.
them,
Yeah.
typically if we expose them, we don't put copper there. We will come up with a chrome satisfactory
Right.
pipe that looks dressy.
Yeah.
That doesn't sweat and doesn't stain.
So on the fixtures, that's the main thing that I saw is, with the side entrance ones, they don't sell them anymore. So when we pull them, they're floor mount. That's not a problem. We can tie on what we can. Is there?
Here's the problem right here. Terrazzo, that is a lifelong floor product. It has to be done in squares. If you tear out here, you go from brass rod to brass rod. Could be 4x4, could be 4x8, could be 4x10.
And matching the
And
colors.
again, matching the color to the existing, you won't get there.
You won't get it no more.
You
So-
will not get there.
So fixture wise, like your mop sinks and do you want to reuse that stuff, or do you want to just go new with everything? Do you want a cost for fixtures separate and piping? I just need to know how to put it together so that you guys understand that what we're up against. So all new fixtures I can price, and then I can give you a per cost. I don't want to get too
I
difficult.
would like to have it per cost.
Okay, for
you
a
know,
toilet
because-
per sink. Okay, we can
Yeah.
do
And
that.
all you have to do is check mark off,
Right.
save this,
Yes.
get rid of this, save this, get rid of this.
Yeah.
So in areas that the public isn't seeing it and the product is good, I'd recommend you save them.
Yes.
if it's something that's lightweight, that's not doing the job, that somebody came in and put in a, what do they call those, laundry type sinks?
Yeah, that's what they have in several.
Nothing wrong with using whatever you can get your hands on, okay? Because if it's not in an area that, first of all, we gotta make sure it serves maintenance.
Mhm.
Right.
But if it's not in an area that you're gonna need to have it, there's no sense in having to tear all that out. We'll go on the backside of it and we'll capture.
It looks like
water.
some of your faucets, like your lab faucets are Sloan and they're pretty new.
Yeah.
Do you have any issues with those at all?
We just put them on, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Okay.
Actually,
I mean, that's something that I could give you an outside cost of the faucets, and if these are reusable on the lavatories, I wouldn't reuse the P-traps and all that, but if you could reuse that faucet, that would take
If
some
they need
cost
to be
down for you.
rebuilt, we'll rebuild them.
Yeah.
So
I
we'll
mean,
save the money we can.
So I'll put that down as a rebuild option and then a cost per. The patching of walls and stuff, some of them, if we get into some walls that need to be opened up, how do we want to go? I mean, plastering is not going to work. We can put panels over it. We can maybe the whole wall or something. So that's something else that we'll have to, we can give you different options. Like at Ellsworth, we didn't cover the pipes. We tucked them into a corner and we had them exposed and they were okay with that. But it's all going to be to the aesthetic of the building, what room it is. Like in the judges' rooms and stuff like that, we made it all look good. But like in a staff bathroom, not staff doesn't mean as much, but they were okay with just the pipe being exposed. We ran it on the wall, we insulated it, we put a PVC wrap around the pipe so that it was, able to be cleaned. Those are the things that we need.
How much of that are you gonna have to do?
I think there's 3 or 4 bathrooms that really concern me. Some of the smaller bathrooms don't have chases behind them. Is that right? Would you agree with that?
as far as I know, that there's like be the second floor and the third floor don't have the chases.
Yeah.
We have some product available that we use on the exterior for refrigerant lines that we put on. Like we just finished a couple of churches where they had limestone and or red brick, like the Catholic church down here. And we can hide some of that stuff in there and you can paint that any color you want. So all we do, it has a backing and it has a cove that we clip in.
It's like oversized wire mold, like wire mold electricians use.
And then whenever you paint that again, or whenever you wanna do it, you can paint it or bring somebody in to do it.
I think we'd have to on some of those.
You're gonna
Without the chase,
yeah.
you just have nowhere to go with it.
You're gonna make a more expensive job if you open these walls up and try to put everything back and you got all the
You
finishes
can
and
plaster,
everything.
but we gotta find a guy that knows how to plaster, old plaster.
Yeah.
And there's only so many of those people available anymore. You may have to drag them out of.
Retirement.
There's a guy out
Well,
of
Manhattan,
Solomon,
Kansas, K-State's full of it. I mean, we do work at K-State.
Yeah.
there's a guy out of Solomon, Kansas.
Guy
that
at
does
Solomon down there that goes in and does all the old plat, cause you have to remesh it.
Mhm.
No laugh, it's a mesh. And he's gotta refit that and then he's gotta put that, if that's what you want, we'll do it. If you
I
wanna put a
don't-
coving cover on it, we'll put a coving cover on it.
I think the cover,
I think the code is-
yeah, I'm gonna ask these guys, you're,
We're not here every day
Yeah.
like the rest of the 4 of them here, so.
Typically, if it was in a bathroom inside of an office, we'd put a coving cover on it. And if it's out in where the public's at, cause that's where you're gonna get to hear it from.
The main bathroom's gonna be this level, isn't it? Is that the main one?
yes.
Yeah.
That gets the most traffic, the most public?
And that one has a chase that I saw, right?
That one,
Well, they'll have a chase and some of
it's over that
comes
dirt
in
floor,
from
isn't it?
underneath.
Yeah, but we can get under
You
the,
can
we can get to the bottom
you
and the back of
one.
that
yeah.
You can
So
pretty
that one
well
will look
do.
just, it should be able to look like it unless we have to move those water lines up, there'd be that one hole that we'd have to try and patch somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, for each toilet, that would be the only thing, is there'd be that, where the water line
Comes
came
in.
through, we'd wanna move it up and right side it to make it for the new toilet, so you'd
Right.
have that hole. And that's something that we can look at multiple ways of patching. You could do it with a stainless steel clean out cover and bolt it all the way through
Right.
and nobody would, I mean, you would know that there's no
Yeah.
clean out there, but we could put a nice finished stainless steel
Yeah.
cover there, then move the hole up. There's ways of doing it without big expense.
Yeah.
If you're open to those, I can
We're
list
just trying to
those.
stay away from ugly, but if we can
Sure.
cover it, we'll tell you that as we make the proposition to you for what we're gonna do. We're gonna need some contingency money, so, I'm probably gonna tell you how to put 10 or 15% in contingency. If we run into something, we don't have to have a whole commission come in and do something, we're gonna tell you, we're gonna go best methods.
And
We
we
get it
can,
done, we'll make it look nice.
we can make those covers out of paint lock metal in our shop. It's a special metal, then we can just paint them to match the wall, or when the wall's painted, they'll blend in. So there's multiple ways of
It
doing
doesn't have
it.
any galvanization to
Yeah.
it, so you can paint right over it. And you put a
Are
screw
you
through
guys
it,
okay with
go-
that? You, doesn't,
Bathroom's a bathroom, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be
Yeah,
that pretty.
you're not there to look at the fixtures.
I think we're gonna go on your recommendation.
Okay, I think it's gonna
That's the
look
way
more
I
natural
feel.
because a lot of times when you walk into a bathroom, you see those clean out covers. Nobody's
Yes.
gonna question it.
They
You're
don't
gonna,
know.
you're gonna know that it's not a clean out, but
No,
everybody else is gonna think, oh, there's just a clean out there or something. So
Yeah.
that's the best look to it. You make it as small as you can. You don't need a giant one. If you need a 4-inch one, we'll put a 4.
yeah,
So, yeah, if you're willing to those kind of steps, that will help us in the
And a
cost.
lot of that stuff we'll make right in our shop.
yeah. And for your bidding process to
Yeah,
make
I
it
mean,
simpler.
well, even
Yeah.
covers, like if you don't want a PVC cover that's stacked on the back, we'll make it
Yeah,
out of something that can be painted. You put a primer and a painter on it, paint on it, and it's gonna look like a cover.
If we have to run a pipe up a corner of a wall, we could actually make a panel that's removable, but it's paint lock and you can match the wall, whatever we need to do with it. We've done that quite a bit, so.
So we basically put an edge to it, or we'll put a backing to it, and then have the cover snap in, or wing nut it in. There's a lot of different ways to do this.
A couple questions. Is this something that you can do in stages? For example, our building's always people in and out, so can you like do the first floor and we're still active on the first floor?
It's the only way we do
or-
it,
Okay,
because you can't get around people. You have to let the building function. So we may come in and say, well, can we have X amount of offices this week? Or can you put up with our noise and our dust, and we'll try to contain dust? And how we cut it, there's gonna be some noise though, when you're chipping rock, you're gonna have some noise, so you might get to a point where we might have to move somebody out for a few days, tape it off and come back in.
and then you
So-
kind of complete that area and then you move to the next.
So by starting at
Yeah,
the
we
bottom,
would know, there is no way I would allow my crews to go in there and attempt to do the whole building.
Yeah.
Well-
It's not feasible.
what we did at Ellsworth was we started in the tunnels. We ran all our new pipe beside the old pipe, okay? And then our crews came in at 4 and 5 in the morning. They were okay with letting us in the building. So we did a lot of the cutovers before the 8 a.m. when everybody came in. So our crews would come and work those tie-overs, and you may not have a bathroom on this floor till 9
Noon,
o'clock,
1
but
o'clock,
you
2
have,
o'clock, we're
you
gone.
have some
We're out of
upstairs
there.
and
We're gonna leave
then
you
we're
alone.
gone.
right.
But we wanna be in at 4:30.
We have no problem with that, because we did, the carpets. We let the guy come in at dark 30 and lay it. And
Scrape floor and get it done that way. So
We
we're
will
okay
bring
with that.
guys in that have done this before, and a superintendent and a project manager.
Yeah.
There's no smoking allowed
Yeah.
with our crews, okay? Even if we catch them going outside the yard, if we find him, that guy's gotta be gone. He goes to another job. They're all drug tested. I don't put up with nonsense. When I get here, I wanna do a nice job, but I wanna be in at hours that you're not here. That's what I like
no
to
problem
do.
whatsoever.
We're good with that.
About the only person that would be here about that time in the morning
Yeah,
is
we
me.
just work with,
Yeah, the other thing that
Bill
we
to
have
get
is that
it
we
open.
may work 2, 3, 4 guys. You can't really work much more than that because you're gonna affect somebody else somewhere else. You can only
Right,
tear out so much at a time
right.
and replace or make a parallel access to it and then tear it out later. And then we get it done and we're gonna get out of your way.
The biggest inconvenience that we had at Ellsworth was we had to make people walk from this floor to this floor to use a bathroom for a while.
Yeah.
And that you could see, there may not be a bathroom usable on
You
third
hear it.
floor.
We hear it.
So,
yeah.
so I'm just saying that.
It
that
happens.
That was the biggest.
So we
thing
may
had.
leave one man behind. You know, if we might run 2 or 3 guys and then we let 2 guys off and one man stays behind. That does what I call tinker work when somebody else is there, but he's not gonna make a lot of noise, a lot of issues. But there's things that we can do that preps that same team for the next morning.
Yeah.
And if there's a court case or I don't know, is there court in this building? Is there-
Yes. Second
Yeah,
If
floor.
you give us that schedule and we have to, no drilling or whatever, my supers will follow that
Right.
to a T. If you say
We know what's
from
coming
2 to
out.
5, there's no noise,
We're
they
pretty
get it.
sensitive to
Yeah,
judges.
they got it.
Yeah.
If they have to come in that
They
evening
have
or
a
something-
stronger rule than
Yes, they
Yes,
do.
they do. Yeah.
Normally
Yeah.
Tuesday,
I've worked on
Wednesdays.
courthouses where they'll say, call me and say, Mr. Glassman, judge would like to talk to you. I'd like you to be in here. I said, yes, sir. Yeah.
So all the hydrants on the outside of the building, do you want us to tie on the back of them, or do you want them replaced all the way new? What kind of,
Do you have keyed hydrants right now?
No, most of them they all have
just
the
the knob?
on to them.
I would recommend that on the inside, you put at least an access ball valve somewhere. That
Yeah.
I like
somebody
that.
doesn't come by, turn it on the weekend to have a break. Or you have to go to a key type frost proof, which means that's a commercial grade bronze flush face with a nozzle on for the hose, but you have a key that goes into a square. You just tell us what you want. They
How
are
many
fairly
are
expensive.
there on the outside?
It's just four.
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 Well, be three, because we've just replaced
You eliminated
this.
or
No,
replaced
we
it?
just replaced this one. McClure's came in and put a ball valve on, down in the basement, we've never.
Yeah, at least you want a ball valve somewhere when you leave on the weekends.
You
Shut
shut
it
them down.
Shut it off and you're isolated.
Yeah.
Because you know, the big issue that's coming next that you're gonna hear about is people that insert poison into the lines. That's the next kick. When it drains down, somebody gets an idea to stick a tube up there and, you know, it's not this anymore.
Yeah.
So it's whatever you wanna do. We'll make a recommendation to you. If you have an aesthetic side to the building that people are looking at, then maybe the flush bronze looks nicer and use a key on it, then you don't have to do anything else.
If not, we can still just go to a keyed one that is the exposed like he has. We can just put them with the key, but they're not as secure, but they still need a key. So
Yeah.
whatever we can do on that. So the last question that I truly had is, has your sewer, do you have trouble with it backing up your main? Has anybody cameraed it, or do you know the condition of it?
I know we got a place on the sewer that's about halfway out from the courthouse to the street that's supposedly starting to collapse.
You need to get a camera shot of that. You need to okay
Yeah.
that today.
And we can have.
Because
a
we don't wanna
camera
do
shot.
everything inside and then come back and have.
And
a
find
fight.
out you can't get it out of there.
If you have that, that's the first thing we're gonna address.
Yeah. That needs
We wanna be clean coming this way.
Yeah.
And we have a couple different camera companies that'll camera it and it belongs to you, but it'll give us a recommendation to say, it's time to dig up this much yard. If there's 2 spots in it, we're gonna tell you it's time to replace the whole sewer, all the way to the street, be done with it. You have to get rid of your sons of the past, I hate to tell you, but that's kinda how this thing works, you know?
As far as you know, Bill, that's never been replaced, has it? That's still the original
Not
cast?
as long as I've been here.
Yeah, what I wanna make sure of is
Or
that,
Could be tile.
well, it's probably is tile. And
It's the red.
It's
Red clay.
Red clay.
we wanna make sure that they didn't cut it off at a certain point. In the war years, they put a different product in, what we call it,
Orangeburg.
Orangeburg. You couldn't get clay and you couldn't get cast because it had to go to the war effort. So if it's anything in the 40s, they used what's called Orangeburg, which is basically build-up tar paper will oval out.
Mhm.
That's gotta come out, if that's in there. So, and sometimes they use a tile leader out so far, then they put Orangeburg in, because that's all they have. So I wanna know what it is. If it's Orangeburg, it's gotta come out.
Well, then that'd be the first is to get that
Camera.
camera and see
Camera
what's-
should tell us that, even if it's tile, well, if we don't have happening, or don't wanna have happening later with, you got beautiful trees here, they like sewer lines.
Yeah, they can work right through them.
So if you're tile, You're starting to do this?
Yeah.
that's indicative of a tree root that's pulling on it. That we're gonna have to take a hard look at, but we don't know, we're guessing right now. You need to authorize having somebody come out with a camera. And we'll have, when you do that, with the charges for it, we'll put one man out here with them, so that we see what they're doing. And then they'll give us the film and it's kinda like an interior x-ray. And it'll tell us how far we can go. We use them almost on every job anymore. It just takes out a lot of headache. So,
I don't have any more questions to put together. Do you guys have any questions of us? Anything that we haven't covered that you may be thinking, how do we go about this? What do we do? I mean, we will have our,
you have 2 things that you need to approve today to make us move. And that is asbestos, line that up and get it out. I don't even know, they don't even charge to come out and look at it. do
no,
they?
they come out and they do a survey and they give a quote, that's part of that. their
And
opening.
then scanning and sewer, we gotta get that done.
Is there anyone in this area that does sewer scanning that you know of?
I don't know. I know of one person that has the camera for the sewer, but I don't think he,
I don't know of any.
Closest one you'll get here is Hayes. and
Yeah,
he's
we
good.
use we use CN sewer there in Hayes, and he does a great job.
We give him all that type of work, and that's why he's built his, because we give him so many leads, because he does a good accurate picture of it. And the asbestos, like I said, we've got a guy out of Wichita and a guy out of Kearney, and those two guys have done a lot of work for us, and they do a nice job. And when they're out here, if they need to be shown around or, you know, whatever, we'll send them in
We'll
out here
have somebody.
from Colby, come out and take a look at it.
Okay.
Other than
So
that,
do we need to approve that? Because we're gonna have an expenditure, you
Yes.
know, on that part before we even decide what to do with
Yes,
you
you will.
guys.
But you'll need those, I mean, in my opinion, you need those two things,
Before
whoever
we
does your
start, no matter
job,
what, anyway.
whoever does your job for your own security,
Yeah.
you guys wanna know it, so whether it's us or whoever, I mean, I want it to be us, but whoever does, at least they'll have the information they need to give you an accurate design. We can get a cost estimate if you'd like on the camera, and I've got William's number, I can get it to him if you guys wanna look, but that would be the first step that we.
I just go ahead and, we're gonna have to do it, you know,
Uh-huh.
is it, unless it's $50,000
No.
difference on, you know, these
Well-
guys are the ones that do it all the time.
I think you're gonna be looking, this is ballpark, no more than $1,000 to $1,200 to have that camera work done,
Well,
depending upon how
I'll
long he
make
has
the
to spend
motion
here.
Plus
that we
mileage.
approve,
Yeah.
we approve the camera and the asbestos inspection before we start. And that'll help you guys with your bid.
well, you need to
decide
know
too.
where you're going.
We need
You
to
don't
know.
have a roadmap here.
So I
You gotta
make
know
that
where you're
motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the, camera and the asbestos inspections, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose sign, we've got that done,
Are your meetings, every Monday or once every
No.
2 weeks or?
every 2 weeks.
It's,
First,
first.
second Monday of
and
the
the
month,
last day of
and last
working day.
working
I don't
day.
know when we can get them out here. It'd be nice to get them out for the next meeting. I would like to have the information before I give you your price. So that's what I'm gonna hold up on. The
That's
minute
fine.
they give me what I wanna know, I'll write you a cover letter on top of what we're gonna price. And then I'll tell you what your expectations are, and I'll either run back out or we can do a Zoom meeting. Do you do Zoom? with
Zoom.
your
We do Zoom.
We'll do a Zoom meeting and tell you what your expectations are, what we're gonna do, what the
That's-
contingency should be.
That sounds good.
No matter what, you wanna put a contingency in. If you don't use it, you don't use it, you keep it.
Okay.
But we don't know what's in some of these walls. So,
Nope.
If you find any gold, we get to keep you.
First right of
it's not
refusal
a
to
split,
the
it's
owner.
not a
Yeah.
split though, right?
I got it, I got it.
So I better get all I can before I record it.
Yeah.
We'll have someone watching you guys dig in the walls
Yeah.
too. No, we appreciate it. You appreciate you coming out and
No problem,
helping us get this fixed.
no problem. We wanna, you know, when we look at a building, we look at the entire building, so even if you're doing plumbing, if I see something that's not right, I'm gonna let you know about it, whether you do it now or later. You'll know about it.
Appreciate it.
That includes any
You've
electrical
been
things
out
that we
on
see
the
that are
jail
not right.
several
Okay.
times, I think.
Yes, that's Matt Fry, our service plumber, has been out multiple times working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done,
Well, we're out here all the time anyway, it's just not that big a deal.
it's been years ago, but I actually plumbed the Max Jones Fieldhouse edition the first time, years ago.
Did you?
Yeah. They put that second gym on the
Mhm.
side there.
Yes, and we're working at, we got a project at Leota Hospital too. So, and we got another project we're at in, didn't we just get awarded a project just south of here? Wichita County?
We're at Tribune,
Tribune,
yep, Tribune Schools.
so we're all over.
That's his area.
Yeah, that's where we
Glorified
are.
jackrabbit here.
All right, gentlemen, any other questions?
No,
If not,
no.
we'll let you
Thank
go.
you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Go back and meet with Ellis County as soon as I get back.
There
guys
you go, thank you for
Need an
coming out.
extra one of these, or you got?
Thank
what
you
you
very
No,
much.
no, I don't
for
think we
inviting
need,
us out. I
we
appreciate
don't.
it. Okay,
So, yeah,
all right, gentlemen,
appreciate it.
thank you.
You bet.
Get out of your way. Thank you so much for your time.
But,
Thank you.
Blame Dave for being late.
Yeah, it's my fault. I'll take it. Really.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to meet you. Thank
We
you
used
for
to
your
make
help.
the
Yeah.
guys that were late by donuts, but.
Should I just use him?
We
as
can
the-
do that, that's
Yeah,
easy, but I want him to buy
Yeah,
lunch.
let's do that, and then anything that needs to
Oh,
be
you got
done,
one?
then he can get
No.
over to Ashley, so.
Probably
Thank you.
tomorrow. It'll take me the rest of the day, but probably tomorrow I'll call you
I did
with the
not meet
time
you
on
on
that
Trump
wire
Live.
and stuff like that. So
Nice to meet you.
I get that
That's
number, I
right.
call you,
Yes,
is that
sir.
your cell phone?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just keep calling you that way and then we'll go from
Because
there.
if I get
Really?
away here, I can get a hold.
It's a long story.
And then sometime it may
They
be
gave me
James
the most
coming over,
money.
sometime it may be a plumber coming over. You met James guys too,
Yeah.
so. But I will call you tomorrow after I talk to Chris and the asbestos.
See you all.
companies.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright, anything else?
I don't think so. Keep us
Okay.
posted, so.
Alright,
Thank you. Is there any other business?
I don't have anything else. I make a motion, we adjourn.
A second?
Been moved and second, we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting's adjourned.